known from North America. This is an example from the Museum of Northern Arizona, one of their specimens. And here's the Ligokypus. These guys are often very small. This is a centimeter, so that's tiny. And you can see all these really cool teeth in the jaws. And there's that jaw I showed you before, kind of showing the teeth. In a site called Eggshell Arch, also in northern Arizona on Navajo Nation. This was discovered within the Navajo sandstones. And I'm going to show you some critters that are known from the Navajo. This is definitely a Trikelodont. It's been suggested to be a possible Caeantotherium. And here you can see this is a really cool specimen for me since I like feet and stuff. You can see there's a foot here. Here's another hind limb and another foot right in here. So these are really important bones to look at, especially if you want to compare them with footprints. This, I think it's really ugly, but there's a lot of bones. This is a skeleton of an animal called Segiosaurus hallei, which is a small meat-eating dinosaur found in the Navajo, described in 1936. It's what it may have looked like. This is a piece of work by Brian Ing. So this is in the new piece of art that we just introduced. I just closed in on it. I love the eyes on these guys. I saw a really funny post on Twitter this evening. It's kind of indicating that the big Trikelodont is yelling, "They got Jimmy!" Another one, Cetod, described by good friends Joe Sertich and Mark Lowen. They found this incredible fossil. Originally, they thought it might be a pterosaur, that it was maybe a theropod. It turned out to be a sauropodomorph in a collapsed sand dune. You can see, so the head would have been down here. The animal actually fell and collapsed into the sediment. These are the hips right here. Incredible specimen. It's on exhibit at the Natural History Museum of Utah in Salt Lake. Definitely worth checking out. Super cool. Then, not so beautiful. These were actually found by a guy named Gerald Bryant, who used to be a professor at Utah Tech in St. George. And they were described by a guy named Larry Reinhardt and Spencer Lucas. These specimens are at the New Mexico Museum of Natural History. You can see vertebrae, osteoderms, and impressions of osteoderms. So you can see all these rows of plates. Really hard to photograph. Another specimen found nearby shows part of a hind limb and also osteoderms here. This is the hind limb in here. It's a pretty neat specimen. These were found in the Navajo, and this is a protosuchus, so some of these long-legged early crocodilians, pretty small animals. Sauropodomorphs, these are also at the Museum of Northern Arizona. You can see articulated feet. These were found again on Navajo Nation. This is a horrible photograph. I should have thrown a picture in, but this is actually part of a pelvis and a limb. The limb's down here, the pelvis is up here, really hard to see. This was described by Galton in 1971. No photos. This is also another part of the same specimen, vertebral column with neural spines. Another one with belly ribs. Again, these are all sauropodomorphs. And then this one that was found by my good buddy Rob Gay. He was walking his dog near Hanksville. What are the odds of this? And his dog stepped on this rock. And he looked down, and there's an articulated foot of a theropod. You can see there's a claw here. It's kind of messed up. But anyway, super cool. Not a great specimen, but they're super rare. So there's 9 specimens. You can count all of the discoveries that were made prior to this one on both hands. That's all that's known from the Navajo. I think one of the reasons why, it's people not looking for bones in the Navajo. I think that's got a lot to do with it. And people specifically, like paleontologists out there looking, but they're looking more for tracks. And I can see why. I mean, there are lots of track sites. So, but finding bones is tricky. But I really feel like with this discovery, we have a totally new search image for the Navajo. So maybe somewhere here in Zion. I don't think so. I think most of our finds are going to be more in south central and southeastern Utah. Possibly up towards north of Moab as well. Like up in that area should be good areas to search the Navajo for more bone sites. So there's real potential. Okay, so now I'm going to quickly go through the individual blocks. This is a discovery block, like I showed you. There's that lower jaw. This is the part that you could see in that first photograph. The side, again, lots of bone, just packed with bone. It has at least four skulls inside it. Here's a couple of limb bones right here, two femora, and again, that lower jaw. You can see the teeth, and part of the incisor at the front. Also in the block is a partial skull. Here's an incisor here. These are rows of teeth. So it's still buried in the block, a lot of it. The other side, you flip it over, look at all the bones on the other side. This is definitely a distal caudal, so part of the tail vertebra, closer to the tip of the tail. That's typically what they look like. These two little knobs on the end of on the back of the vertebra. Also impressions of two more jaws with tooth impressions as well. Block C, here you can see you're kind of looking down on two jaws. They're kind of tipped like this. So here's the right jaw, and there's the left jaw. Also this block, the side of C, there's a bunch of ribs that seem to be associated with vertebrae, so this is possibly an associated, partially disarticulated skeleton. We're not quite sure yet. Again, this stuff is very difficult to clean. Block G, one of my favorites. You can see again another lower jaw here with the other jaw associated next to it. There are the teeth. These are definitely impressions of the cusps of the teeth, and you can see they're in sets of 3 all the way along there. So we think this could actually be Chiantotherium or something similar, maybe something new. Right here, this is kind of hard to see, but it's there. There are the incisors up front. There are the rows of teeth on each side. There's the middle of the skull, the zygomatic arches on the side, and the brain case is back here. So most of the skull is still in the rock. So we, like I said, we took the blocks to the University of Utah South Jordan Health Center, thanks to the help of Dr. Randy Ermis and Carrie Levitt-Busian from the Natural History Museum of Utah that helped us set this up. And we met this great lady, Michelle Moore, and her assistant, I can't remember her name. But we put all of these blocks through. There's Jaleesa, and she was photographing all the blocks so we could keep track of the order of everything. And what we discovered in oh, the picture's turned again. What's going on here? Hey, that's kind of weird. They weren't like this before, I swear. Anyway, so this is tricky. I'm going to maybe show you this a couple of times. You need to kind of look in this whole area here. Look up here for 2 white dots, and you're going to see rows of teeth here. You're going to see the processes off to the side, and the back of the skull is roughly here, roughly. Run the movie. Do you see the teeth? And there's the process off the side, and it goes back the other way. Process on this side, process on this side. You can see the rows of teeth. You see that? Mm-hmm. That is a complete 3-dimensional skull inside the block, inside block G. So pretty incredible stuff. Really exciting. Now the next trick is, how are we going to prep this stuff? Or are we going to prep it? So the next plan, so we did these scans with a medical CT scanner. So we now have an invite to go to Sandina National Laboratory in Albuquerque and do scans using a really killer CT scanner. And they're all, as Adam Marsh puts it, they're super nerds. They love dinosaurs, and they really, really want to CT scan more fossils. So there's a real problem with these blocks because the density of the rock and the bone are so similar. So I think if we pound them with more radiation, we're going to get better results. So anyway, we'll see. So this is possibly a hind limb. Look, I pressed that button again. Oh man, I'm screwed up. Sorry. So this is possibly another hind limb. This is possibly humerus, or femur right here maybe. Anyway, this could be a hind limb. Needs more prep. There's that other specimen I showed you with the partial skull, with all the teeth and the roots. Another femur. The skeleton, of course, which I've already shown you. The skeleton on the other side of the L block. Anyway, this is a piece of art. done a long time ago by Mark Whitten.